Do you find it difficult to focus on your customers and even your own employees as you're juggling numerous vendors? Do you have more meetings with vendors than you can count? And do their reports filled with technical jargon make you feel clueless and frustrated? Such is the story of Nathan. Being at a car dealership, he's concerned about his store's digital marketing presence and invests most of his time dealing with vendors to promote his business and gain more sales and market share. Nathan is busy handling reports and reviewing them, not knowing what is happening on the advertising front and about his true ROI. Poor Nathan is worried but can't figure out a solution until he found BZ Consultants Group. BZ Consultants stepped in and was able to take the digital marketing vendor burden off Nathan's plate, giving him peace of mind that the best interest of the dealer was always top of mind. Being an unbiased third party, BZ Consultants always made sure to relay the reports in easy, relatable, and actionable ways so that Nathan could best utilize the data. Now, Nathan can focus on what he really wanted, the customer experience and growth. By being your digital marketing business partner, BZ Consultants Group will remove the hassle of trying to hold your vendors accountable and increase your productivity with the time you will now have armed with true data. Together, we make it possible because your success is our goal.
Welcome into Furniss Fastlane. In fact, not feeling Furniss Fastlane. We have made it to Friday, Laura. Somehow, I'm still trying to figure out how we made it there, but we made it to Friday.
Woo, we did it. Long week.
You know, I saw I'm going to post about it later, but I saw this quote the other day about like, it's been a long day for the last 7 months. And I said it to a friend and she goes, more like 28 years. I go, hey, I'm not going to complain with that one. That's about right, actually.
Yeah. I like your friend's answer. That seems a lot more relatable. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, it's been a long, like 5 years is what it's been. So, everyone, welcome into the show. Peter, as always, it's always a game here of who's gonna respond first. Is it gonna be Peter? Is it gonna be Jeff? Jeff, happy birthday because it's your birthday every single day.
Happy birthday! Oh, it is? Oh.
No, it's not really his birthday.
Oh, okay.
But like, it's a big joke now that it's his birthday, as he says right here. It's his birthday every single day. So we're just so lucky to be in the presence of Jeff Revilla. So we've got, who else we got here? Russell, hello to you and good day to you. Russell, always good to see your bright and smiley face. Little logo here, but it's still good to see your bright and smiley face. Jeff, happy birthday. Robbie, happy Friday to you. Good to see you, buddy. Always good to see you. Hello, chicas. We've also got Roberto, making it to Friday isn't as half as hard as I'm starting. Oh, you know what, Jeff? I will second that one. Yeah. It all kind of blends together at this point, but yes, I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Brooke, no, it is not. My birthday is March 6th. So I've already had the big birthday, the big 4-0 birthday this year. So that we're done with that, moving on, getting on to next things. And happy Russell, is it your birthday today, Russell? I did not know if it is Russell. Happy birthday to you. We've got Boom Chocolate. Yes. And I'm telling you, Jeff, like, I'm just going to say that it is warm here, but I think I might need something stronger after the last couple of hours here. And
you've had a rough day, huh?
It started out pretty well, and then Steve Apicella and I had a great conversation, and then I stopped talking to Steve, and that's probably when things went downhill because I wasn't talking to Steve anymore. It's probably the reason why.
Oh, okay.
But I'm seeing you, so it's better now.
Yay. My pleasure too.
Yes. So before we jump into this, how are you doing? How you had a little crazy meeting here earlier. So how are you holding up?
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks where I just was like, oh, I'm in town all week. So I will just delightfully overschedule myself, both my children and my husband. So it's really just self-induced craziness because I have absolutely nothing in the world to complain about. I literally could not be better. Brooke, I had to actually hold back. I was this close to wearing my Lions jersey.
I'm shocked you didn't.
I went with blue anyways. I was feeling, but I'm wearing it tomorrow. I'm going downtown tomorrow for the last day of the NFL draft. But as maybe some of you don't know, I'm in the Detroit area. So we are just we've gotten mad here in Detroit with hosting the NFL draft, setting the NFL day one attendance record of 250,000 people. Yesterday was pretty cool for our little city. So anyways, and the sun's shining, so I'm great. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Right, we're hanging in there. One of the questions I have on here is like, okay,
Oh,
what's your thought on the draft? Are you happy? Are you going to it? I saw Terrigo and Al were having a little draft party, so I was like, man, I got to ask her. So that's actually on the sheet over here of the things I was going to ask you.
oh, it was? Okay, yeah. Well, so I am definitely not. I mean, I don't want to say that I'm not on the Lions bandwagon. I'm on it, but I've never been off of it. I actually, I think I told you in our episode, Brett, that I had a dad who worked for GM. So he moved us all around the country. And by the time I was in high school, I stayed in the Detroit area because he kept coming back to the Renson for a stop in, middle of management at GM. Anyways, I used to work at the Silver Dome, and I would take tickets and cash for people to park their cars at the old stadium in Pontiac, Michigan, because I lived close to that. And I used to be on the cheerleading team. I'm sure that's a huge surprise, but we used to cheer because the Lions, like back in the Barry Sanders days, though, he
Oh,
lived in my hometown of Rochester, Michigan, and I would see him conditioning on the track back in the day. And so we like kind of, not that I knew Barry Sanders, but the Lions are a really important part of my life, as weird and funny as that sounds. So it's nice to see Lions fans embracing Jared Goff and like really like taking off. I mean, we've got some of the best players I think on the team we've ever had. Now, of course, I
yeah.
mentioned Barry Sanders. It's hard to, not talk about him when we
Or
talk about the
Megatron. I
Lions.
mean, you guys have had some really,
Megatron.
oh,
Yeah, I mean, Maddie we had for a while before he went out to LA. So there's so much to be excited about. But for just our city too, I'm happy for the Lions. I'm happy that in Brad Holmes we trust. We've got some really smart people in middle management now. Everybody seems to really like what Martha's doing with the team. But the city of Detroit needed this win. We were really set back after COVID in a major way. And we lost a lot of residents. They went back into the suburbs after working so hard from a central mayor's office standpoint and, beautifying the city. And so many nonprofits take and do so much to make us all proud of our city. But we just needed a win. There's a lot of buzz around our Alabama cornerback we got last night. Yes, I
I was
see
just
that
going to
watching
ask.
it. Yeah, so I don't know. Terrion Arnold seems pretty confident. He's said the word Super Bowl on Instagram, I guess, last night in his post about coming to Detroit. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do. But yeah, I'm going down tomorrow. And I just want to be a part of it. Yeah, I don't have any plans. I just want to see it. So gonna go support the city tomorrow.
That's awesome. When it was hosted here, it was a while ago. And the same thing, like it was so cool how they transformed the city and just to see the whole thing, the whole spectacle. It is quite, if your city ever hosts any type of draft, and like it's just really cool to see how they transform everything. Like they have NASCAR here. And once again, it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like you're trying to go over an overpass and they've got it all blocked off so you can't look down the street. I'm like, really? This is where we're going now? But it is kind of crazy. And Larry, I just saw your comment there about good afternoon. And it made me think like, Larry, are you happy with your Phillies? Like I saw a meme this morning. There's a
Yeah.
lot of
How's
memes.
everyone feeling?
Yeah, the meme. There's a lot of memes around the Atlanta pick, and don't get me started on that one. But in particular, the one about Philly is they're like, great, another receiver that Dak can throw to. So I don't know, Larry, how you're feeling about that, but I thought it was a great pick by them as well. So yeah, it's just so much. I love the whole NFL draft. I like anything, National Signing Day, whatever it may be. I'm all for it. So it's always has
Good.
a little eventful in this. So we'll see. Like for the Bears in particular. Like everyone knew that Caleb Williams was going to go first. Like, okay, whatever. But then when we got Rome, I was like, seriously? How did he fall to us? Like, this is crazy. Don't screw it
Yeah.
up, Chicago. Please don't screw this up.
Yeah, I actually heard a pretty fun fact. I heard that after Kansas City hosted the draft, they started winning the Super Bowl. So we're kind of feeling that little good juju. Yeah, that's just speaking about hosting a draft. So we'll see, but I
We'll
can't
see.
wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait. My daughter is 12 and she was like, "Can it just be NFL season already?" She stayed up to watch the draft with us
Oh,
too.
I love
So
it. And it was
yeah.
late. Like it was like 11:30 your guys' time. Like I remember looking at 10:30,
Yeah,
it was still going on. I was like, this is 11:30 Eastern time. Like, are you kidding me right now? This is nuts.
it was late. It was way past my bedtime, that's for sure.
I passed out. Yeah, it was like I did like 8 miles and did like another workout. So I was like, man, yeah, we're really
Oh,
tired by like
good.
10:30. I was like, I'm out cold. No, I'm not last anymore. I'll catch it on Sports Center tomorrow morning, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, well, when your team goes, you're like, "All right, night night."
Yep. Like no more, nothing else to watch here. We're good.
Yeah.
You all didn't know you're going to get this whole synopsis of the NFL draft on the show today, but we just do whatever we want because it's live and we can do whatever the hell we want to do. So we'll jump into the show a little bit about. It was just awesome. I absolutely loved chatting with you, getting to know more about you. I had mentioned previously, for those who don't know, Women in Automotive. That's where you and I officially met. Like we knew each other, I think, through social media or whatever, online. And then your keynote, I'm like sitting in your keynote, and I get a phone call of a fire drill, and I had to step out, and I missed your entire key. I was so upset. I was like, damn it, I just wanted to listen to her. And as I come
Aw,
back in, everyone's like cheering for you. I was like, come on.
aw.
So I feel like I got my little personal front row seat to the I Am Remarkable. For those who don't know, yes, you do. Some people may know you as Google, but you do this. I think you said 65 that you've done 65 I Am Remarkable sessions. Is that correct? Facilitated?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just in the course of being a facilitator over the last 5 years, but, not necessarily leading all of them, but being a facilitator. So, yeah, I love how in the show you were able to capture the comment that the reason why I do them is entirely selfish. When I watch people transform, in 90 minutes or come in to with preconceived notions about themselves, I get so much more out of seeing people experience that it's okay to talk about yourself in a way when it's based on facts. And that is just what I loved about when you reached out and said, "Hey, come and be on this show with me." So many things about you resonated with me, Brooke, but you are such a ray of sunshine. And I gravitate towards positivity. I think, Enneagrams. So there's a lot of different personality tests you can take, and I found out recently that the thing that drains my battery more than anything in the world is negativity or people who come into a situation and are like, "Well, we can't do it. We've never done it that way before. It can't be done." It's like, oh, that kind of personality is so hard for me to find solace in and work with, but we do. We all adjust, and people though then in turn, when I come into a situation and I just find like we made so many, um, yeah, Russell,
Oh,
law of attraction for sure,
mm-hmm.
but
It
we
is.
made so many connections that after even knowing each other for a year or so that we didn't know on that private show that we recorded together, Brooke, and that was really special for me. So
Thank you.
thank you for being you and for
Ah,
having me on.
I feel the exact same. And there's so many people that are on the list, and it's like thankfully we're booked out quite a bit, which is great. On the other hand, it's like, man, I want to have this person on the show. I want to have this person on the show. I think the first time I heard you actually speak was on I don't do a lot of Clubhouse, but I happened to be on a Clubhouse, and you were talking. I was like,
Oh,
who the hell is this person? Like, I want to
oh,
know her. I think that's where it was something like that. It was
yeah,
something random. I was like, I don't know who this person is. And I was like trying to look up who you were. I was like, she
oh.
is so smart.
That's so nice of you to say. I bet you any money it was, David Long's All
It
Things
was.
Used Cars. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. That, I don't really get asked to do a lot of talks like that, so, because, I've got a lot of things going on. When I am invited to have a seat at the table, which is what he does so well for so
Mm,
many people, is he brings so many different types of people in that you wouldn't have been exposed to me before. Thank you for that compliment. I really appreciate that. I genuinely so enjoy those conversations. So whether it's David's or others on Clubhouse that host those, um, gosh, it's so fun to hear directly from people like yourselves and even people in retailers, with multiple rooftops or single rooftops. Just this industry is wild.
it
And we
is.
know we know the history and then we keep building on it and we know to show up and we know all the basics. But yeah, listening to people and hearing, David Long, positive pandemic of
Yeah.
positivity. That's how we found each other. We're attracted to each other. Laws of
Yes.
attraction.
Yeah, to Russell's comment, Russell's also saying, I cannot talk to negative people for too long before I see the conversation is not going anywhere. And then if it cannot move in the right direction, then it's time for me to go. And Russell, that is something I cannot agree more with that.
Yeah.
Just when you think you have it bad, there is somebody that always has it worse. Like we end the show every single time, whether it's a live show, the recorded show, to find a way to serve today, find the way to make someone's life a little bit better. And I don't say that, like I say that with purpose and meaning, as something that I try to do each and every day. And sometimes it might be very difficult because you can just have a horrible, horrible day, and to then try to be like, okay, what else can I do for someone else? And so there's been multiple situations where I'm like, if you sit and complain one more time, I might punch you in the face. Like then you'll have that to complain about. Like I can't deal with the fact that all you see is negativity. We've got Larry Feldman on here. He is just a ball of energy. We call him the Tasmanian devil, but he is so positive that it doesn't matter what's going on. It's like, how can you turn that into a positive? How can you turn that into a positive? And so really, Russell, I 100% agree with that. It drains the life out of
100%.
you. Oh my gosh, it drains the life out of you. And Brian Ortega, Brian, welcome into the show, buddy. Always good to see you. It's been a great conversation. I agree as well, very much so. So, looking back at the conversation we had, what would be one of your takeaways from the show that just dropped?
I think, Brooke, why you and I, just get along is, not because you get it, but you value authenticity more than, we're talking about a lot of great traits. We're talking about a lot of great things about both of us here.
We are pretty amazing, so.
We're remarkable. Let me tell you all the ways I'm remarkable. All right, now that we got that out of the way. No, but really, I really took away that. Have you ever heard the phrase iron sharpens iron?
Yes.
This is a phrase that resonates with me because of the automotive industry. It's a little, metaphoric or whatever you want to say. You really understand when iron shapes iron, it's already a great base. It's already just like someone or something you want to sink your teeth right into. It's that person that has that thing about them that you're just totally drawn to. And I just think that like taking away the conversation was not only the authenticity we were both able to create for each other, to be honest, to say, I love that you didn't cut out the part when I said, like, I'm really excited to be a part of a large organization in Detroit that's a marketing club that is not diverse enough yet, that has not quite hit its stride in terms of being representative and looking like the people of Detroit, who are mostly people of color. And I don't even look like that yet, but I appreciate that we can talk about things in a way that maybe our values are different. Maybe we don't see eye to eye on sensitive topics, and we don't have to bring those up. We see eye to eye on being your true self and not, being afraid to say like, yeah, I screwed up big time. You highlighted so many things that led to like, Brooke, you do a show called Facts Not Feelings that helps us all be better versions of ourselves, right? You are iron shaping us. So you are bringing people together that, I've never met Jeff or Peter or Brian or Russell, and now I'll hopefully see them again on another clubhouse somewhere or on here or in person. But there's so much importance in being that person that is out there to shape other iron. So thanks for being you.
Well, thank you
That's what
so
I
much.
really took away.
Thank you so much. That means it means so much to me. And one thing in particular, actually, to Jeff's point here, you can also run faster if you're not carrying a bag of rocks. Yes, that is also true. It's like you got all that negativity just weighs you down, and it's like, how am I supposed to set a PR on this one? I'm not going to. But it is. And one thing I like to do in general, whenever possible, is to bring people on the show. Like, there's definitely the speaking circuit, the podcast circuit that everyone is on, and that's great and that's fantastic. I love when I can find someone that's never spoken, that's never been on a podcast, that's never been. It's sometimes challenging for the editing team. Don't get me wrong, but
I'm sure.
nice. But you're also stepping outside of that wonderful echo chamber that we all seem to get a part of at some point. We're just hearing ourselves reverberate back to ourselves. Well, no, go find someone else. And especially when I do this every single week, it's sometimes difficult to find as someone that is new, or it's not a repeat or what have you. But it's just, when you can do that, like you said, now you know these people, they're going to know you, and then you keep extending that reach of how we can help people. And Roberto, I'm coming to you, buddy. Great topic as always. Thank you so much. Russell is saying, Laura, you are awesome. I'm going to put awesome sauce there. He didn't say awesome sauce, but I'm saying awesome sauce. Yeah, Peter said, always give 100% unless you're donating blood. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Then you might be a vampire. So I'm not sure. Very, very true. But it is. It's like, those are, as we went through the whole conversation of, yes, there's the I Remarkable, and it's so cool that that entire theme and how that began and where it's going and all the good it's doing. The main thing for me, like when you're looking at all that, is the mentorship and how can we transform and empower people in the auto industry, especially females and underrepresented groups. So that was a really, really big one to me. And I loved how you went through it. And even like when you're looking at your Michigan State mentees, where they're coming through, and I hadn't even thought about that. Like, yeah, they went through the whole COVID where they didn't have a graduation. Now they're going to college, and all these little things of like, how can we reach down and help somebody? Like that is so big to me.
Yeah, and Brooke, gosh, I can't let that one thing you said go by, which is just, averages across the automotive industry of number of women in key roles, they are increasing. So that's good. So future figures are likely to be higher, but really representation of women, it tends to be higher in those customer facing roles, less than in technical, less than in management roles. So you look across like, more likely to be a sales consultant, maybe even a parts consultant or a service advisor. But I did a little bit of research, and like parts managers, sales managers, service technicians, those are like less than 5% of any women that are in those roles. And for me, it's like, maybe because it's just not the time, but I doubt that highly because I'm watching in Detroit. I've got a friend who runs a nonprofit, and what she does is she teaches women how to weld. So Meg welding is a really important job that a lot of women don't even consider, don't know about. And what she's trying to do is even help elevate the base salary of these women in the Detroit area by teaching them a skill that's a labor skill that's an important skill for the future for anyone to have, right? But also just helping women who would not have had an opportunity to maybe even make a double to triple digit salary because they were never going to get to that point. And then putting, welding in their hands and teaching them a trade skill, that's super important. I know I'm talking outside of the automotive industry, but it's all somewhat related. And I think that it's up to us to just keep encouraging girls. And I love that you didn't cut this out of the show either. Keep encouraging girls. If you like that, go for it.
Yeah.
Write your plan, sister, and then go kill it because you can. They need to see it. And we said that in the show, if you can see it, you can be it. If you can see it, you can be it. But we have to talk about it. And then we also have to not exclude our male counterparts from the conversation. I see a lot of men here in the chat. Like I've actually traveled the country and I've met a lot of men who said, oh yeah, I mean, my whole outfit is women because of X, Y, or Z. Or like, yeah, no, you know what? In this part of the world, it's not really a part of the world where we're recruiting women to be service advisors. We're open to it. But for now, we're getting an incredible amount of skilled tradesmen from this part or people with these particular service and parts license in this part of the area, more EV technicians on the coast, of course. But it's a fascinating time. And I just think that we're in a really, really better position than we've ever been before to increase the number of women in those roles across the automotive industry. But let's keep going. We've come this far, but we haven't come this far to only go this far, right?
Amen.
We got to keep going.
Amen. No, and I was interviewing, we had a panel that's I think the show's dropping here. It's like the 1st of May or so. It's like sometime in May, the show is dropping. We had the whole panel. We were talking like, yeah, it's the second biggest purchase that you're going to make. And one of the guests goes, my son's graduating from college I can't remember where it is. And he goes, so I know how much I threw down on that tuition. I don't know that the car is the second biggest purchase anymore next to the house. I go, you know what? You're right on that. But I say that jokingly to the sense that college is insanely expensive. When I hear how much, I don't have children. I have 13 nieces and nephews, don't have kids. When I hear how much my friends and family are paying for college. I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. So there are other options. If you're, whether
Yes.
it's male, female, whatever it may be, that they
Yes.
want to go in a different direction, that applaud that. The trade school is awesome. And we need more of that in our industry. So that was, I just had a laugh. I just interviewed them like last week. I was like, oh, I'll be using that later on. So
Great example.
it's crazy expensive. Like, man, when did it jump so high? Like, I know it was not that it was cheap when I went, but I was like, it's increased just a little bit since then. It's been a while, but it's been, yeah. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And to your point, one of the things Katie Mayers, you know Katie Mayers, right?
Yes, I love Katie Mayers.
So love her to death. So she always talks about, even in her customer experience book, that, hey, it takes both of us, not just females. Females, well, that's great. You're in the industry. If you don't have your male counterpart pulling for you and working for you and trying to work on diversification on all sense of the world. And we've done a lot of shows on this, but it's not just how the color of their skin or their male or female. It's so much more than that. If you don't have a diversified portfolio of your staff, that's a problem. And it's going to take the males, because there are more males in our industry, to be like, okay, we need to have more females in it. Need to have more of this in there. Little things like that. But it makes it, we cannot do it by ourselves. Not even in the least can we do it by ourselves. It takes both. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah. And why would you want to? Why would you want to work that much harder to try to understand someone, or try to, bring someone in who speaks a language that there's a high population of those customers within 70 to 100 miles of your store? Gosh, it's going to increase your bottom line and bring you back in the black. That seems very tempting to me, is just knowing that diversification of your leadership, diversification of your sales team, diversification, and bringing other ways of thinking in, bringing other people with different backgrounds and cultures and understandings. It's good for your bottom line. Like, that's should be enough, like just the basic humanity of it, Brooke. But
gross profit, kind of like that. I don't know.
Yeah, who doesn't like money? I just taught a class at Michigan State last Friday. It was a couple Fridays ago, because they just had graduation, and it was a senior class in advertising, and it was a big auditorium, which was so much fun. A little intimidating because it's students, right? And I mean, the toughest critic in the world is a 12-year-old girl, let's be honest. But
or a toddler that's going to speak their mind. One of the two, yeah.
Or a toddler, yeah. But the Michigan State, one of the first things I said, because it was a Friday morning lecture hall class, I said, who likes money? And it was like, yeah. Like, everyone's hand went up. I was like, right. Okay, well, you add students here in the Comm Arts building. I know why you picked this major. I was here. I walked in your shoes too. But you guys, you're in a really great position understanding marketing and communications and digital and how to speak to customers in a way that gets them to want to hear more from you. Use that. Go out there, make money, and like, think about these skills you're developing, and then go and volunteer and go get your chops, right? Go get a little scrappy and roll up your sleeves. And just, you said it already, some of these kids have had the deck stacked against them with COVID and mass shootings in schools, which are ridiculous. That should not be happening.
Never happened
in this day and age. Like, I'm done. Like, and I'm done
Agreed.
not talking about stuff that should not be happening. Anyways, but yeah, everybody likes money. So,
yeah.
So that's something we can connect on. Diversification is good.
I agree. And two things to that. One, I just left my mind, so it'll come back to me at some point. But the second one is the mentorship that you do. It's awesome. You're all like, you spend so much time doing that. And that's outside of your regular job that you do all the time. I'm curious if you want to talk about a little bit about I Am Remarkable and everything that goes on there. Like, I know that we could do an entire episode on this, but just talk about it. For those who are unaware of what we keep saying, I'm remarkable. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So I'll listen to that, give the floor to you.
Thank you. I always am so grateful when you let me talk about I Am Remarkable, because what it is it's actually a workshop. It's actually a 90-minute personal development workshop. It has to be guided by a trained facilitator, because, of course, as a facilitator, of which I am, you understand the curriculum, you've done the research, you've been through it, you're trained to lead a course like this. But what makes it unique is it was originated at the company that I work at. So in my in my my day job is I work at Google, and I'm an automotive retail specialist or a digital expert, whatever you want to call it. I get to work with franchisees and retailers, which is the best part of working in automotive marketing. I said that last time in the show. But I Am Remarkable was something that was designed, developed, born, thought out at Google by two female engineers who realized they were being passed up for promotions because, they weren't doing a great job of being their own press secretaries, of being their own best friends, their own, biggest fans rather, and saying like, hey, here's 14 more ways why I'm remarkable. And they actually taught each other how to do that because it's not comfortable for everyone to be like, let me tell you why I'm great. So then, even though it was born at Google, it has since left Google. The originators of this brainchild have grown it into something global, quite honestly, which is really exciting. So a lot of us that were originally trained at Google, because that's where we were initially exposed to it, we are still facilitators. We do it in our free time. We keep it kind of going that, yes, we work at Google and we are these facilitators. But the good thing is, like, anyone can become an I Am Remarkable facilitator, Brooke. And now that the company, it's left the company and it's external, now there's just more opportunity for everyone. And so, the best way to just understand what it is to go on LinkedIn, look for the I Am Remarkable channel. And yeah, Brooke, you were so kind in the episode to even put the main website on. But LinkedIn is how you'll find workshops near you, virtual workshops to join in. Try one. They're free. No one can ever collect money or charge you or take anything from you, but it does have to be a trained facilitator that leads the workshop. Of course, the content is under lock and key, and you have to keep and earn your accreditation. So I mentioned how many workshops I did, not because I'm trying to flex, as my 13-year-old would say, but mostly because you have to keep them going, and you have to keep stretching yourself. And I learn something new every single time, Brooke. I learn something that I've maybe been saying in a way that has othered people. And I just hear people mention it in a workshop, not because I've done it, but they'll say, yeah, I hate when people take my voice away from me.
Mhm.
When I'm in a status meeting and my boss looked at me and said, hey, Laura, what do you think about this? And then this man or woman or person or whoever it is jumps in front of me, and then I retreat and I just sit back and I let the moment go. I'm like, no, we can't. No, don't do that anymore. Your
Mhm.
mama didn't want that for you. I know her. I know it. I don't know your mama, but I know she wants you to have that voice and find it. So let's go. So it's a little bit of that I feel passion, of course, whenever I'm in the presence of someone who has a similar background as me, or a woman or whoever. But I love seeing people who are not othered, who are traditionally in the majority, who are not in the minority. I love when those folks attend workshops and make themselves uncomfortable. And even if they don't say much or participate, they're there to support. It's always so incredible to see the allies join these workshops. So yeah, if you have 90 minutes to spare and you can find yourself one, I always recommend signing up for one.
I agree. Like, there's a lot to unpack there. One thing in particular is you're talking about being retreating. First thing is I thought of is being gaslit. And I was actually having a conversation this morning with one of my dear, dear friends who happens to be, and I apologize right now, everyone. If I have got landscapers, they did not come at this time and they decided to come right when I'm doing the show. So hopefully that's not coming through. I don't know. We'll see how great the Shure microphone is at blocking all that crap out. But he was just saying, he's like, man, I'm just so tired of, he's in a C-suite position. And he just goes, I've got so many people underneath me that they just continue to gaslight me. And it's like, I've said the same thing 15 times. I've been clear, I've been concise, I've educated them. And yet they're coming back at me like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And it was interesting from a guy's perspective to hear that. Cause usually you hear it from like a female's perspective. I go, you know what, dude, if I had a nickel for every time that happened, like it just happens. So it's not just with females this happens. This is with the male counterpart as well.
Totally.
And finding your voice and sticking up for yourself. And this is a few years ago. And I was talking to someone and they just go, it was actually about work and different pricing of packages and what have you. And she goes, Brooke, you got to know your worth. And I go, well, I know I'm pretty awesome. She's like, no. What your company, and which means what you are worth. Right now, you're doing X and you are completely undervaluing what you have. So do this. And it
Oh,
wasn't until that moment I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. That, hey, we've all probably seen the quote of, hey, if I can do it in 30 seconds, but it took me 30 years to get here, you're paying for those 30 years that got me here, not for the 30 seconds. And it was just that brief moment of like, and I already been told a couple different times, hey, you're charging way too less than what you should be. That's not good grammar there, but you're not charging enough. And so
mhm.
when I started doing more research on this, and I had done a ton, it wasn't until that I had easily 10 people come up to me. They're like, what, seriously, what the hell are you doing? Are you just like giving your stuff away? And I go, well, I thought this was this. So based on my research, like, no, go back and we can tell you, being in the dealership, this is what we are used to being charged. I was like, okay. But once
Nice.
again, I was so timid to ask that because I didn't
Yeah.
think I thought there'd be too much, or I thought that, it's all these feelings and that imposter syndrome that, it's not going to work. But no, like, know your freaking worth. And it was really difficult for me to say freaking right there. So know your worth.
Brooke, I have a question for you.
Question.
Who is the person that you said that it was a woman that you had that conversation with? That, do you mind sharing who that
It's
was
Robin
again?
Wilson. Robin Wilson. Good old
Well,
Rob.
thank you, Robin Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that for Brooke, because now she shared that story, and now myself and maybe someone else, man or woman, will hear that they're undervaluing what they can bring to the table. We need more Robin Wilsons in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We need to recognize them too when they come across our paths. So I just think that's great that you had someone who is, I don't know if she was close enough to you to do that, but she was definitely kind enough to give you that advice.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and once you find out, that's, I think, part of mentoring college students for me. And yes, I mentor mostly girls, females rather. The thing that's just really incredible is they are like, well, I've done that, but that's not important enough. That's not going to get me a job. I'm like, what? Yes, yes, it is. Like, all of this, anyways, is yeah, I'm like, you're communication students. Shame on you. These resumes should say way more, way more than this. So, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, Rob and I, have very similar mouths, to say the least. We both have sailor's mouths. We both have very similar viewpoints on things. And there's things that, like, to your point, like, we might not agree on everything, but we're so aligned on so many other things that, like, hey, okay. And yeah, so there's a lot of times. So anytime you see, so LinkedIn, you get the professional side of Brooke, for the like, usually professional side. If you go to my Facebook or Instagram page, it's a whole different story. There are F-bombs being thrown around. It's a whole, because that's personal. It's totally fine. Obviously,
Yeah,
you've got the kicks, but anything like that,
yeah,
I'm always tagging. Like, I always will tag her, Eliana. There's April
yeah.
Simmons, Laurie Holt, like those, because I know that, like, those are other just badass women that have very similar sailor mouths like myself. And they'll appreciate it. So
Okay, so yesterday on the way to school, I think I said the word asshole 3 times in front of my beautiful little children, who actually, it's weird with Gen Alpha. They have phones, but they don't have, like, social media because it's not cool, but they have apps. Like, they love Duolingo and other things, like gaming apps and crazy, and they don't swear. I
what?
mean, and I listen to them game with these gaming headsets on, but my 2 are just like, and so I'm listening to them, and I see their eyes in them, and they're just like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I keep saying bad words, and I wish I was more like you and your dad, but I'm not. So, sorry,
No.
not sorry, also."
Yeah. No, not at all. No, I'm good.
And it's authenticity, Brooke. It's,
Yes.
we all want to be I mean, I can't say this for everyone, but what my dad wanted to be, the perfect little suburbia childhood girl who, maybe gets her MRS degree at college and goes home and cooks and cleans. And I am the worst cook in the world. And I like to hire people to clean, and I like to travel and do my own thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think authenticity is the way to be. It's
Amen.
easier to live that way too.
Amen. I'm curious in the comments here. Let me know who's been your mentor, who has been your person that you're going
Oh,
to, that, like, hey, this person has meant so much to me, whether they know it. Because sometimes I've got very good friends that are very good friends, but also in a way also a mentor to me, where I can call them about anything. And it's like, they can
Yeah.
tell me, they can set me straight real quick, like, or affirm like, yeah, okay, you're on the right track here. And so maybe it wasn't someone that you
Yeah.
went out to and said, hey, specifically sought out and hey, I want you to be my mentor, blah, blah, blah. But more or less, I look to them for examples and provide valuable feedback and valuable feedback. So in the comments, I know it's a Friday, we're coming on in a month,
Yeah.
but let me know in the comments. And even if you're doing that to man, let me know in the comments who your mentor is. And I've always joked that I don't know if I could ever leave automotive because of how my mouth is. So I was like, and I had Fleming Ford on the show, and she goes, Brooke, I can tell you right now, you do just fine. And like in a C-level suite somewhere, I've listened to those people. My husband's on it. You would do just fine. I was like, okay, we're good. But it
I
goes
have a
back like
feeling
that.
you could go anywhere, Brooke.
But it goes back like that's who I am. I'm not going to turn on the camera or do some social post that's not me and be like, I'm going to put on a mask, make sure everything's okay. And I had a post a while back and my phone blew up. I'm like, hey, are you okay? You okay? I was like, hey, I'm just going through a lot of stuff right now. It's, but it was, and it must have just been my tone and how I said things because I wasn't my bubbly personality or whatever it may be. It's like, but I'm like, I will never shortchange the audience, whomever that may be, because all you're doing is perpetuating that circle, that vicious circle that everything online is fake. And so, Peter, real quickly, Larry Feldman is one of the best sounding boards out there. Yes, he is. Larry, you know that I call you for just about, we were texting this morning, even just because I was like, I'm going to snap this morning. So Amy is saying Nicole Case. Oh, okay. I don't know Nicole. Amy, I'd love to meet her.
Look her up.
Yeah. If she's a mentor to Amy, like, come on, this girl's got to be amazing. I mean, she's going to be kick ass for sure. Yeah, well, we're going to write that one down real quickly. Nicole Case. Amy, if you're still there, is Nicole in the auto industry, not in the auto industry? I'd obviously love to know more about her if she's been a mentor to you. And that's awesome. It's always interesting to see too, because like you can have so many, like Peter said, Larry Feldman, like Larry's been there multiple times. And Peter Smith, hashtag go Larry. Larry, I know that it's like your first day home and you're playing catch up. You're getting a lot of love today, buddy. So just let you know, right?
So nice.
That's awesome. So who's been your mentor? Throwing off a tough one to you.
I know. It's so, I like to keep it close, Brooke.
Okay.
Like, as you mentioned, I'm just starting to build my network outside of Detroit, having met you, having been invited to some of these women in automotive conferences. So I'm very well connected in Detroit, but I would say I keep it close, and it's a combination of like my guys. Like
Yep.
you said, like I have a really core group of best friends from college, from Michigan State, who, if I need the real talk, like the hard talk, I'm gonna call them. But then there's some other people that have been mentor-like people. We're both in the worst club in the world where we don't have our moms, and I don't have my mother-in-law anymore. So now I'm the oldest person I know, and and there's a lot of things that are happening in this middle part of my life that I like to kind of keep it local and just have a sounding board of mentors that are all around me every day. And I mentioned Colleen in my last recording, and she just, as someone who went through the bottom barrel in the professional world with me, but who had enough sense to be very human with me, that's a mentor. That's who I want to be like. So I like to find people who are doing great things in the world, locally, in the world, and mostly, and then just go like, okay, what did you do to get there? Like, what is that magic sauce about you that I can learn from? Also a combination of podcasts, and I've got a good rotation of like four that I'm telling you what, they're kind of like the pseudo moms that I don't have on the earth anymore with me, and they're podcast hosts, and I'll save them for later. If anybody wants to know, reach out. I'll tell you my podcast list. But yeah, they are another kind of like, am I right about thinking that it's psycho to feel this way? Like, no. Am I being a psycho right now?
Maybe I am, but I say you need to have a little insanity to stay sane. So you're fine. Don't worry about it. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, someone with a doctorate can tell me that.
Yeah. Amy is saying that Nicole is in auto, was my boss for 8 years at Reynolds, and a dear friend for much longer. And it's so crazy that happens. The first one that comes to mind is Dan Moore. Dan Moore is like a big brother to me, and we've known each other for a minute now. And while we are very, very close, he's also been that mentor to me that whether he likes or not, he is to be like, hey, I have this idea. I have this idea. And he's there when he's like, okay, do you need me to listen to you or do you want advice? And I go, I'll let him know one way or another. Or, hey, when I do want the advice, he knows that he can be brutally honest with me. And it's totally fine because that like love friendship is there. It makes such a difference. And there's
I
been, I
love
could go
that.
on and on about how many amazing people are out there. But the first one that always come to mind when I think of someone is Dan Moore every single time. Not even a question. Like,
Thank
hands
you,
down.
Dan Moore. Thank
Yeah.
you, Dan Moore, for what you did. Iron shapes iron, clearly.
Yes. Very good. All right. Have we missed anything? I know I'm just looking at the clock. I'm like, man, it's been 47 minutes. What else
I
is there?
know.
Like, the time flies here. Anything else a takeaway that you want to add from the show that just dropped?
Going back and watching myself is not super easy to do. I'm like, why was I moving around so much? And why didn't I have lipstick on? My mom would have said, put some lipstick. No, just kidding. All of that stuff kind of stripped down. I joke about it, but I just think it's funny how 47 minutes can feel like it was 30 seconds. I just think it's so nice to know that there are people like you out in the world, Brooke, that we can continue making better versions of ourselves because we learn from you. So please keep having such diverse folks on from all stretches of our industry because I know a lot of folks in the media landscape. I come from a media company and I can't really say much from that perspective, but I know it can be incredibly difficult to talk to people that come from these media companies. And so I can connect you with some of those folks and get them to come and be a part of the conversation. But that's just it. It's expanding our networks right now is so important as I feel like every single year the joke of being like in the media company world is every single year you get these new marketing materials and they start with like 2024 is an inflection point. And we're like, it's been an inflection point for so many years now. Like, like I can't even, but like the year going into the next couple of years with everything that's happening in the political world, the geopolitical world. Oh my God, everything that's happening abroad and everything that's happening stateside. There's a lot. Things are really heavy in the world. Let's just get together and be humans and talk about human things and try to share our positivity with each other and try to strip away. Like, it's fine if you're having a terrible day and to be negative and call the people who are going to be negative. But, like, yeah, I mean, let's get together. 2024.
Jeff, I love you.
I heard it in 2024. I heard something about AI somewhere.
AI, CDP. What else can we throw around here?
Yeah. Is that a thing? Did anybody else hear that?
For mobile, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
look at Jeff. Oh, Jeff always, it's usually Brian, Jeff, and then Jordan when he's able to join, Jordan Cox. It's like, and that's the comedic relief for the day.
Love it. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, every year it's an inflection point. Every year it's the changing landscape of the this and the that. And okay, well, let's just like talk about it. How did it go? And true, I do think that data and like going back and looking at performance and conversions and like, we can bring a little bit of that nerdery into this. Like, yeah, that's how you make informed decisions. But
you can read more about the GeoCity pages. So oddly enough, Jeff, I think it was early this week I posted about it, but Google came out and said, hey, linking is not as important as you all think it is. And I just had to laugh because it's like, I'm sure that anyone that has a company gets hit up at least weekly, if not daily, about, we'll get some linking. I'm like, do you understand that's not even important? So Jeff, to your point, linking is not important anymore. That's the big breaking news or whatever it may be, So I just have to laugh when some of this stuff comes out. I'm like, yeah, it's been that way for 20 years. Why are we still talking about this?
Jeff, I wonder if we could also maybe get your Napster profile or your
MySpace.
Your MySpace page with what was your song?
I refuse to do it. Like, I refuse to do MySpace. Like, Facebook was out and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I didn't get on Facebook until I was living in Japan at the time. So it was 2006, 2007 is when I finally broke down and got a Facebook. It was because all my friends were across the world. I was like, how am I going to keep in contact other than Skype, which don't know what happened to Skype. Skype's not in there anymore, but I waited until 2007. No, it was after. So yeah, it's 2007, 2008 is when I finally broke down and got a Facebook page. Yeah.
And do you still use it?
I do.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, like before I started the company, I was never on social media. Like I just like my life personal, like to keep it that way. Obviously that changes a little bit when you have a company. And so I am on it now. I do post fairly regularly. And it's so interesting how the demographics work on what's going to, oh my gosh, hold up. We've got Jeff going in the Friendster. Oh my gosh. There we go. Huge friend of Friendster.
Oh, big in Tokyo, huge on Friendster.
Oh man, it's like the whole thing. Like there was, I'm just like nostalgia right now of like what we had to go through. Like when a song was on the radio, you couldn't just go to Napster. You couldn't just go to Amazon or Apple Music. You sat there with your cassette player and like, bam, hit it. I gotta get the record button.
Ready, set, 97.1 Cool Jams, and you're like 3, 2, 1, let's go. And then you get the end of like Cool Jams, and you'd be like, I can't make Josh a mixtape that says Cool Jams at the end of it now.
That's what I'm talking about. You get like it's like 30 seconds in this song. You're like, well, I don't know when it's coming back on again, so I'm just gonna have to leave it that way. Like these are the things we had to go to. We downloaded viruses on our computer between LimeWire, was it ShareBear, Napster. We were willing to risk it because we got the entire album or we got Anchorman for free. Like these are the things that we did.
Before the days of VPNs.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, what was one of your songs? What was one of your mixtape songs? Can you pull one out of the air?
Oh man. Yeah. I actually still have one that's it was after a breakup and it was a pretty bad breakup. And so I made it's not like he's listening. It was the Anti-Brody official breakup album. And it started as an album and then it went into this massive, then playlist became a thing. So now it's like, no joke, this playlist has got to be, I don't know, like 2,000 songs long now, but that's like the first that comes to mind. That's off the top of my head.
Brody.
Thank you, Brody, for doing what you did. So
yeah, you really stirred something up. you got that beehive going. 2,000 songs on Brody's list.
Oh, yeah. So if anyone's going through a breakup, I have a hell of a list for you. Just tell you right now.
Oh my God, wouldn't it be so funny if Brody was listening and he was like,
"Oh,
I'm here, Brooke. I'm here."
There's no way. No, someone else that knows him might be listening, but you all know the situation. So that was a lifetime ago. But yes, I got some really good music out of it though, for sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What about apps? Loved getting photoshopped. Loved getting Brian, are we talking about apps now? Oh my gosh. No, yes. Brian, I download Photoshop every single year on I think it was LimeWire what I was using because I was like, oh, it's safer. It wasn't safer, but in my mind it was. So I did Photoshop. I had there was a bunch of other ones, and I always loved like when you got it, you're like, and it would pop up, and you knew that you just downloaded something you shouldn't have downloaded, and you're like, well, I hope that my Dell computer makes it through because that's like all that was there at that time. So HP was there.
You're on your dial-up AOL. He's paying $15 a month for internet in addition to whatever. Yeah.
Oh, I did Microsoft Word. Oh, doing a breakup album before Taylor. I seriously, like,
oh yeah, we don't have to anymore. Yeah, now we just have Taylor to write 31 songs for us, Amy, and tell us every detail. So yeah, that's great.
If I would have known back in the day that this would be a money-making machine, I would have, done somewhere to have this be monetized, but I was not thinking that. And Brian is saying exactly. Yeah, Brian, it's crazy. Like the amount of Microsoft, the entire Word suite, I downloaded that for sure. Sometimes it worked. And it was like the 7th download. You're like, it's not, yes, has nothing to do with what the show. I'm fully aware of that. But you would go through so many of them. And it was like the 10th download, you're like, please work, please work, please work.
Man, so the good old days.
Oh man, they were simpler times. No cell phones. It was a simpler time.
Yeah.
1997. It starts downloading a movie. Your file. Oh my gosh. Oh, it would just say like 2 years. You've got like the files going back and forth. It's like, okay, you will be completed in 2.5 years. I was like, what the heck? The other one, floppy disks. Now we're all nostalgia land right now.
Oh yeah.
How the hell did we have something that thought was a good idea that would hold like 2 files on it? 2 files.
Well, also think about this too. That's how your AOL came in, was on a floppy disk. So then you loaded your AOL in, but then like your resume was always on a floppy disk. And I am so old, Brooke, that we did not have cell phones. We did not have
Hmm.
personal computers in college. So
No,
I was
same.
in college at Michigan State, and I was midnight running over to the computer lab in the student union with the floppy disk to try, and then I'd be like, okay, and I'd put in, I'd be like, I'd rather run one. And I had to go for it. Like, where was the cloud when they needed it in 1999? I needed that cloud big time. But yeah,
Oh, you
grit
said,
under your fingernails.
oh, it is like Pirate Bay, man. I forgot about Pirate Bay. I loved Pirate Bay.
Mm,
That was one of my favorite. But I remember when zip drives were coming out, I think my senior year, maybe something like that. And I remember turning something in. I was like, I don't know if it's going to fit or not. Like, it's just like a guess. Like, well, maybe the presentation's on there. I don't know. And looking back at
yeah.
my freshman year, my college roommate she had was the like Dell Inspirational or it was something. I was like, oh my gosh, she has a computer. What is this sorcery? I was like, she must be made for money.
And it sits on her desktop.
Yes, she had a full laptop. I was like, who? Seriously, people have laptops? Like, what is this?
Rich people. Yeah, rich
Like,
people.
you are so rich.
We have a typewriter at
Oh,
home.
man. And so we started with NFL and we ended on nostalgia
Yeah,
of the 80s and 90s. It's been a pretty
that's right.
complete show, I would
That
say.
feels right. That feels right. Yeah, that
I feel
feels
good about
good.
this. All
Most
right, everyone. We have
definitely.
went almost an hour here. I know we got off its track there, which we're going to do because it's a Friday and we all like to have fun and our brains are fried. So that's what we do on Furniss Fast Night. We had some fun, do some little recap, little education, and a hell of a lot of fun. So Laura, thank you so much for being you, for being authentic, for the episode that dropped yesterday, and for everything you're doing. I cannot thank you enough. I am so grateful to Women in Automotive where we could officially meet, which is just around the corner.
Same.
So
Yeah,
thank you.
can't wait.
Thank you.
Brooke.
You're welcome. All right, everyone, you all know the drill this time. Find a way to serve today. Find a way to just be the joy in someone's life. Whether that is opening a car door, it can be a kind smile. Just do something to make someone's life a little bit better. And with that, everyone, we'll see everybody next week.